All right, we should be live, waiting for confirmation. Awesome. Welcome back to The Changed Physician. I am Melissa Cady, the Challenge Doctor, with my co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro, here on our Saturday Salutations to bring you, happiness and excitement of our salutations and our recent episodes on the Changed Physician podcast. If you don't know what the Changed Physician is all about, and you're just popping into this live stream on Facebook, which obviously we put the recordings into YouTube and our episodes as well. You can learn more about the Changed Physician at changedphysician.com, whether you're a physician or a physician ally. And how are you today there, Kevin?
I am well. It is the end of the month, which is kind of weird. Actually, I shouldn't say I'm well. I'm a little bit stressed out because we're getting the carpets cleaned on Monday. And what that means is I have to do a great purge. Because we're actually getting our bedroom carpet clean in our bedroom, which is kind of my office too. And I have to purge. Like, I have literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of studies and papers that I've read and taken notes on. And I got to get rid of them. Like, they're like, it's painful, but I'm never going to read them again, because it's easier for me to actually Google and find the paper online than it is to dig through all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's
purging's a good thing sometimes.
It's just super painful because there's so much time invested in this stuff, and I'm going to be taking literally like stack. I can't even tell you how much there is. It's at least, if I stack them all the way up, that's probably 7 feet tall at least.
Well, you're going to feel good afterwards, just painful during the process.
I might feel good, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be so hard.
Well, it's been who you are for so long.
Yeah.
It's a representation of your work.
Yeah. Well, a representation of myself anyway, because at least I can look at it and say, yeah, I read that, and I read that, and I read that. But yeah, anyway, so that's a little stressed out about topic. But other than that, it's good. I was trying to think of my favorite things this week. I did so on the whole gamification, and I've been doing some kind of keep up to do with my own little personal development thing and things I want to work on. I've been doing daily habits. So one that I think I've talked about is I do daily push-ups. I do daily squats, 25 of each, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm just doing it every day. And it's a nice way to just keep your body moving. And then I've been wanting to add on something else, like other areas to work on. And one of them is awareness of reactivity, meaning I'm very easy to get angry. Like it's pretty easy to trigger me in certain situations. I'm trying to get better about that.
I do it to him all the time, everyone listening.
Yeah. And so I was actually a couple of weeks ago, I experimented. I'm like, okay, well, just if you get triggered or something and you're kind of getting a rise, I want, take this pause or whatever. And that didn't work because, and this is a kind of a critical thing for people to wear. If you're trying to do something that interrupts a reaction, that's almost impossible to do because you haven't developed the awareness in order to become aware enough to recognize you're being reacted such that you can interrupt that automatic pathway. So the big insight for me was, oh, well, I actually then need to practice my awareness skills. And the number one way to practice awareness is meditation. I used to do just a really simple breath meditation where you're counting your breath. And I used to do that years ago. And I still breathe a lot, but I don't do it as formally anymore. But I introduced now 5 minutes a day, and it's loving kindness meditation, which actually has some data that supports it, particularly around anger and that kind of reaction. So I've been doing that this week and kind of holding it in. And I did have one episode that at least I was aware I was getting a reaction from. I didn't necessarily interrupt it very well, but I remember going, this is a reaction. So anyway, that's my favorite thing this week is loving kindness meditation, which is pretty much what it says.
So is there a certain phrase, like a mantra you say, or?
Yeah, well, there's I've done two, and I like the simplified one. So I have two different apps. There's the Veterans Affairs app, which I think I've talked about distally before. is free and it's awesome. Like that is a really, really good app. They've put a lot of money into it. It's not necessarily as slick as some of the paid apps and stuff are. Maybe their music isn't good, but there's a ton of resources in there when it comes to meditation, stress management in different types of forms. They have walking, sitting, breathing. They have eating. They have ones that are specific to different kind of things like diabetes and stuff. So that one's pretty good. And the other one that I was using is one called Oak, which I got a long time ago. It used to have a little tree that when you did it every day, it would have a little branch and then it would grow, you know. And my tree obviously died because I wasn't doing it enough. And then they took the tree away because I don't see it on the app anymore. And I like that one though a little bit better because the mantra is shorter. So loving kindness is all about, one, you start and you're reflecting on yourself to love yourself. And then there's a visualization episode where you actually direct it to somebody else specifically, and you're kind of calling to mind. And then lastly is this embodied loving kindness for the world, where you're sort of spreading it. You're imagining being at peace with the world. That was amazingly powerful, actually, the first time I did it. I had people, like figures that you would think were like, you know, not people that you should be spreading love, and they popped in my mind. And you're like, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be at peace. And so I don't know, I've been enjoying it, and it's a quick thing to do. And I like that this is the Oak one. The Oak mantra is, may I be happy. And then it goes to may you be happy. May I be healthy. And you're not asking. It's sort of like you're just presenting, may you be healthy. May you be happy. May you be at peace. And so I like that one. And then the VA one, I can't even repeat the mantra because it was too long. It was like, I think it was like a word for word translation of the original form, because loving kindness has been around for like 2,000 years. Yeah. And there were 4, like, not 3-word sentences. I can't even, I literally can't remember it off the top of my head because it was so long. And I was like, actually, this is harder to do because now I'm trying to concentrate on remembering these words as compared to these really simple phrases. So I'm a simple guy. I like the Oak, the Oak app, but I would definitely recommend the VA app just for overall utility.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Trying to think of, for me this past week, I just had something and I got involved in what you're saying. Let's see. I was working a lot, but at just a busy time of year. But had enjoyed having someone shadow me. That's been nice. Speaking of people that are applying for, medical school and whatnot. But with my routine with trying to create a little bit more pliability or flexibility in my system, I'm trying to increase the frequency of that and the duration of that. I tend to get tense easily. And so I've been working on doing that, incorporating that with more activity, more strengthening, basically preparing my body to be a little bit more resilient for whatever activity I encounter. So I think I had a lull there around the time of the midst of the pandemic, and never had gotten that out of shape in my entire life. So I'm on the slow rebound. So I'm very grateful for that this past week. So I'm actually looking forward to, it looks like it's getting a little sunnier outside. I might go for a jog walk and do some stretching. So I guess we'll touch on what happened this past week. In our podcast last Sunday released, What Do You Do With Your Time? Do you want to touch on what that's about so people can go check it out?
I can't remember everything other than I think it was me going, what do you do with your time? Because I'm still sort of struggling with this. And I don't know whether it's just my age, because I'm at the threshold of the 50, I just turned 49. And we're at the point where I literally have a time, like a time period of when I will have all the time in the world. And I'm a little bit stressed about that. So I think that was the discussion about, like, what do you do with your time? And it's, if you guys have any suggestions, I'd love to hear it, because I think it's another issue you get, particularly if you're getting busy or And maybe for a lot of physicians who are so busy, you're just thinking, oh, I want all the time in the world. Well, the question, well, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? And so that was a discussion on that, and some of my own personal angst is usually.
Yeah. I just had that conversation with my husband too. And I'm like, I want to free up this time. He's like, well, what are you going to do with it? You're just going to find something else to fill it in with. But it is interesting, that predicament. But we released on Thursday, April 28th, What is Your Kryptonite? Which I guess you can just, you can mention what the kryptonite is, or I can mention it. It took me, I had to really decipher precisely because I was having little slight differences in my interpretation or definition. So we start off by defining exactly what
kryptonite. Yeah. And that's a key point. Like, kryptonite is different than just a weakness, or kryptonite is very specific.
Yeah.
And so we talk about, we define
heel.
that, and they're very much like an Achilles heel. Achilles heel is a great example. Like I said, precedes kryptonite. So maybe we should have got, what's your Achilles heel?
Yeah, right.
But kryptonite is cooler.
It sounds cooler.
It sounds cooler. But we discussed that, and being appreciative, or at least being kind of aware of whatever it is that your kryptonites are. Because if you're not aware of it, or you deny it, then you certainly can't do anything about it, which is, again, a common theme about being aware on this podcast.
Yeah. So you have to tap into episodes 192 and 193 for the most recent episodes. And we're releasing a new episode tomorrow that will carry on second part on Thursday, and we'll talk more about it the following Sunday. So you'll have to we're not going to say, you're just going to have to chime in. And most of the time you'll find these released in the podcast or on YouTube, and then I'll follow up a week or so later, or we will, and put them in Instagram so we can get some, we can make sure, in case you missed it, we remind you later to go back.
Whatever your social media platform is of choices, other than we don't really do anything on Twitter. But the episode's coming up. I mean, I gotta, it's a topic that is like, I don't know exactly what the title is on it, how we're going to title it, but you're maybe like, I don't need to listen to it. There's a lot more. There's a lot more in those episodes than I certainly anticipated in that discussion. It was actually, I really enjoyed the discussion. And then Paul Thomas, who's a direct primary care doc, we've had him, what was the episode, 69? Like the first year we were in
67, 68 were the original episodes, and we talked about them on the 69.
Okay, 68, 60. Okay. Doing amazing stuff in Detroit area. And this is, again, I was not anticipating the conversation that we had. It was fun, and I think there's a lot of takeaways in it.
Definitely. Well, why don't you take us out?
Sure. Well, thank you all for joining us on today's Saturday Salutations. Yeah, hope you are all having a wonderful week and weekend. And as always, you can reach out to us at thechangedphysician.com, or just comment below this if you're on Facebook, and join us next week. Until next time, stay well.
Take care.